Or on camera.
Yep. Right.
We're on camera now.
We're on camera now. So in terms of the workshop, we kind of need a direction to go. What you guys want to do from now on. If you just want to spend this time looking at the budget sheets, and then asking questions, if you want us to tell you about something in particular, then we just kind of need to know. But the time might also just be good in terms of looking through it, asking questions as you go.
I think that that's good for today, obviously. I mean,
So how about why don't we just go over kind of the bars and, hey, this moved here, that way kind of go over it and it'll speed up the actual meeting.
right.
Get rolling.
So if y'all want to click on them as we
Yes,
go?
ma'am.
Yeah. All right, so the first one on our list is number 4. Wait, you can tell me when it's open.
Cool.
Okay, where do I find that?
Right here on 7A. Scroll to the
Oh, it's
bottom, on the meeting.
linked.
Yeah, on the.
I knew that. I'm
I
sorry.
did better this time and did link those two.
I got a mouse every time to use it.
Oh, yeah, you do have a mouse. Lucky.
I bet I know somebody who could fix you up. Thank you, sir.
And then, on that list, you'll see that our amounts are 0, and that's because when we transfer funds, whatever we transfer in, we've got to transfer out. You may or may not remember there was one last month, it was a decrease. So if it's an increase or decrease, that's when you're going to see an amount in that column, because then the bar does have a specific amount, whether it's negative or positive.
Mhm.
So to round it out, just when we submit this first one you're looking at is Title II, 24,154. That's a lot. It's teacher professional development, things like that. Our federal funds, we spend our money and then we have to ask for reimbursement.
Yeah.
In this particular fund, you see we're taking money out of professional development. You see that negative in there. That's because when the application was submitted, all that money was put in professional development, which is function 2200.
Mhm.
This came for our summer professional development. Because we were paying staff for, it's a daily stipend, when we pay through payroll staff, that comes out of a different function, 1000. So therefore, when I run a report with 24,154, we're showing that 1000 is in the red because it's up there, down there, and 2200 with PD. So we have to transfer that money. It's
Cool.
still PD, it's just because the way it's paid, it has a different name.
Because we paid teachers to come to professional
Mhm.
development, we didn't pay for the actual professional development in its own right. So that's why it's a different fund.
Budget.
And bar number 4 and 5 are both the same fund. PED does not allow us to do a transfer between functions all on the same bar. The second one is transferring money into indirect costs, which is a separate function. It's 20, I believe it is. Make sure I'm looking at that. Yeah, 2,300. On our bars, indirect costs aren't even, it doesn't show a line all the way across. Where you see it though is at the bottom of the total. Indirect cost is kind of like administrative costs. The state gives us a percentage that we can charge of the fund. So if we spend, $100,000 in that fund, then 8% of that gets paid to our operational account as administrative costs. But that's in a different function all by itself. So we've got to move money in there so that our function stays in the.
Cool.
Bar number 6. For 24,153 is Title III. And you'll see it's our indirect costs also.
It's electricity, water.
Staff, like Ms. Watson, who takes care of these grants. Her salary's not coming out of these grants, but she's pouring time into these grants, so it's just a little kind of administrative overhead.
Okay.
Bar number 7, 27,149 was our New Mexico prepaid fund. And again, that's our indirect cost. This particular grant is a state grant, and it doesn't even run through PED, it runs through early childhood education. They set, so our PED approved administrative indirect cost rate is different for this one. They set a number and that's what we work, and it's a 7% number.
Okay.
Bar number 8. 7. It's not 24,107. I just had a typo on there, 24,101, which is Title I. And again, it's also indirect costs, moving enough money into the indirect cost line to pay that. And we pay that out at the end of every quarter. We look at our expenditures for the quarter, multiplied by the 8% or 7%, and pay that to the district. Our number 9, 24,109 is Idea Preschool. And that one is moving budget from the 1,000 function, which is instruction, which is classroom, into our 2,100 function, because we picked part of a counselor out of there, and we were short on that salary, so we moved it from the 1,000 function.
I renamed that one too for you, so it's correct now.
Thank you.
And so is that an elementary counselor? Because do we have a counselor
So
there? Or?
Yeah,
Social work.
yeah, social worker over at the elementary. 24,109 can only be spent at the elementary. It's our DD preschool program. 24,109, the 10th one is also, but that again is where, because it's a different function, I had to do a separate bar. And there, we're coming out of the 2,400 function, which pays a very small portion of our sped office salary, and then into the 21 function where our social worker, a small portion. Yeah, I think that's the last one. So you see, these are just, it's just housekeeping.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Yeah.
I don't know how you remember all of that, except I know you've been doing it a long time. Do you dream it? Yeah. I've dreamed about putting books on the wrong shelf.
The worst thing is you don't know that book's on the wrong shelf till you go to look for it again.
That is right. We had a terrible thing where the computer the whole network went down. And so every book that was checked out showed that it was in the library. And then all the books that were in all the classrooms weren't checked out. And we just shut it down. We just took great big carts and went up and down the hall and gathered every book we could find and checked everything in and started over.
Restart.
I think they did something that backed it up differently after that. Because now actually that's getting to be a long time ago.
Back in the 20s, back then.
20 teens or
20, yeah.
I heard somebody say 20 teens. I had never thought of it that way.
The 20th, I won't be here.
Oh, she won't. Have you heard from Linda? No.
She doesn't hardly ever look at her phone.
Just good self-control.
This digital stuff is so nice. You can just scroll and look and
But you can also just control F, and that's my favorite piece, is the fact that if you're looking, want to see something, you can search.
yeah.
I love search.
Jonathan's promised to help me make sure everything's open. Because obviously, I thought whenever I put it all in a file that was shared, that it just automatically, obviously, that's not,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
It's a learning process.
No, we're getting this. This is light years ahead of where we were at. This is nice.
Right, her children. Going on today.
This informational next step on these, so I enter them, Molly gets a notification and she approves them. And then once y'all approve, we send them to Ted, and then we have to wait 30 days. And then they'll approve it. I mean, they could approve it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Park, of course, is the day 29, they're approving it. And then, so once they approve it, then we can go back to submitting our RFRs. So until then, we have to wait. Because we can't ask for our money in those.
Okay.
Until Ted, the bars.
With RFRs, a lot of them have started, especially like the title funds, we send those RFRs prior to making purchases to make sure that they're gonna approve them before we purchase.
Makes sense.
Is that,
Um,
it's not really an RFR, but
No.
we get prior approval,
We get
basically.
prior approval, right. But then, so say again, we get approval for Title II again to have some kind of staff and service, and we pay a stipend to staff. We're gonna go through this again. So we're gonna be in the red, they're gonna say, sorry for you, we're not gonna reimburse you. Then we'll bring it to you, and then,
Yeah.
it's just that. So then we're waiting, so the money, we spend the money, and then 3, 4, 5 months we'll get it. If we have a negative function, if we have to move it. Back 3 years ago, professional development was in the same function as if it were teacher. It was in 1,000, but they changed that. And probably some slow down because of the negative.
So we have to have enough in the general, the account to cover all of those transactions.
Yeah, and kind of where we're stressing right now, because we have some old, prior year grant funds that need to be spent down. And if they don't approve these, there is a chance we won't receive it. Because of just how long it takes us you know,
By the time they provide us with our balance and then us to spend it and then the approval process.
I mean, we're hoping they get this approved and so we can go ahead and submit ours. Just a game and play with them.
And then they change staff and they want a different thing.
Talking about staff. On y'all's radar in the future, staff will be hard to come by in terms of contractors. The ERB has shut down contractors
For what reason?
because of the fact that what they're currently doing, they could do for a school district and be paid and have to pay into ERB. So CES is down 180 employees that have retired and contract with them to do work. And so right now, that's a fight that's happening statewide. Superintendents, as well as all of these different groups who have been utilizing contractors. Because the new lawyer for ERB has stated that those should be able to be serviced through the school district. By Your Side, which we've utilized in the past, has the same issue right now because it's all they utilize retired teachers to go into classrooms and help coach one-on-one a teacher for specific things. And a district could never afford a full-time person to do that. So we hire them for the services, but they have not been approved either. So funding wise, it will be very interesting to see where that lands. For
Is that a national or is that state level?
state. I mean, we lost Hagelstein. She was going to do speech for us. She's going to now be an employee of the REC, but she's going to just do the other schools because we have the ability to have our speech done, but still it's now she has to be employed versus
Right.
Sounds like they're really strangling the whole process.
the worst thing is people are already out recruiting in Texas and Arizona to get retired teachers from there to come do services for us. And that to me makes me sad because now we've cut out our people who would cost less, right? Because they live here. And secondly, because, you know, we should honor the fact that they retired with us and have and know our kids and know our communities and what we need.
And what was their reason for it?
The fact that districts could hire for those same services. And I mean,
Not if you don't have the money.
well, if the fact that I may just need, Lake Arthur cannot hire a diagnostician, period. Like they just do not have the numbers for that. And so they do need to contract that. And that might be with somebody who's, you know, only contracting with them. So we'll see how that plays out.
How did it work? Like, let's say we didn't need a full-time diag and they didn't need one. I mean, is it okay to?
We could
Go
have
on.
an MOU together, but the part that these retirees don't want to
No,
typically
yeah.
work that much, and so they also don't want to pay into the ERB again. They've retired, so they just want to contract their services and go from there, and that's where I think
Basically, it's telling our retired teachers we really can't.
the return to work only.
Let's return to the word, ERB, yes, I mean, we have to put it anyway.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So they can keep it. It's a
Yeah.
solvency thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nancy, you'll probably remember when Pat and Diane Sandoval retired, they would do this.
Yeah.
And they had to do some heavy lifting and proof to demonstrate that they were indeed independent contractors.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They're like loopholes? No, there aren't.
Yeah. And all it took was a change in the lawyer for ERB that approves those to read the contracts differently.
That's why.
Jeannie, will you talk about the all fund report and just kind of like the difference between each of them? I think that's important.
Do y'all see that? That's in the budget report file. Finance and facilities budget reports, no action is the name of the folder. And alphabetically, the very first.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just every fund we have as of August 31st. What our budget is, how much we've spent year to date, how much is encumbered. The encumbered means that a PO is written or payroll is encumbered against that fund. And then a budget balance.
That's the piece about encumbrance, I thought was the important part, because like we already know out of that GO fund that like 9 million is almost all, my guess is salary.
Yeah, that's gonna be your pay, your salary, your utilities, you know, because we put in, there's several vendors for we put in, we call them blanket POs. So we estimate for the entire year. And then we pay down.
Just don't find it.
You'll see our cafeteria based on what budget is. So
This one.
21,000 is cafeteria, 21,100 is universal free, that's the state fund. Last month, we had to bring a budget decrease because they decreased our budget. So now we're showing 6,300 in the red, but no, after audit, well, like maybe January, February, way after, we'll have our cash balance, audited cash balance, and we'll come back in with an increase. Any questions about that?
No.
Not even smart enough to ask questions about it.
Do you have like a set date? You guys have a set date where they have to, most of it has to be spent by, or?
So we asked, for.
For encumbered.
Open the next file. It's, the first one is a budget report for the elementary. And that cover sheet down at the bottom. In yellow,
Oh, March 26th.
we do, yeah, we have some cutoff dates. And number one, our funds is for this school year, should be spent on this school year's kids. Number two, we use this year's what we spend to estimate come next year's budget. You know, if we spent this much in electricity this year, we're gonna bump it up and estimate a little more for next year. But in order to do that, we have to have POs in place or checks written so that we have accurate numbers. So we do ask our folks that your funds are encumbered by March 26th. This is should be right before spring break. That way they can get it encumbered if we have questions. And then when they come, their March 31st, excuse me, budget report is going to show that they've spent all the money. Please remember they do have some funds they can carry forward like bond, but their operational allocation they have to spend. Inactivity accounts, that's our fundraisers, basically. we do give them a little more time because everything that happens in May, you have junior class putting on prom, you have all kinds of things happening. But, so we asked the secretaries and the principals, have that money spent or encumbered by the middle of May. And then something we're gonna work on getting a little bit better this year is asking our building secretaries, you know, if their fund is buying books or supplies, that they've got to give us that, make sure they order it in time to get everything in before they go off contract, so that we know this is everything they've got, we can close POs.
That's what I was gonna ask. Are we typically ordering like in March for the following, or are we?
To some extent,
You know what I mean? So
Yes, so some of it does, like, they are gonna have to have some of that.
for consumables next year.
Yes, so those typically are the
Start
year.
year off with all that. But for the most part, the funds, you know, they spend their funds on this year's.
And we did. Jeannie did create, we have this nice little, business office page now, and has all of. Is it gonna scroll down? All the information that business department, but then it has all our dates at the bottom too, so. And all staff have access to that over here in their little staff file, where we have all of our other information too, so. Cool.
You know what I didn't see on the info was the attachment for the film for the cafeteria. I didn't, wasn't
Oh,
able,
yeah, I don't think I did either.
yeah, it's probably in one of the files in there, but I don't know.
I know there is a copy of
The loose gym
finance
quote.
and facilities also.
Check and I can add it too.
And 6 finance and facilities under budget reports. There's a
Okay, so the reason that it won't directly add is because it's a PDF
Okay,
versus a Google Doc. And so when you click on this deal that says quote for that,
yeah,
you're gonna see Chris Ferguson estimate FSJ tactical,
okay.
and that's your quote there.
Uh,
So I think there is probably better ways, and Johnny's gonna help me there too. We talked about it before y'all got here.
mm,
Jonathan,
Okay.
you're the guy.
First computer that we got in the elementary was placed in the elementary library. And I had never messed with a computer at all, but we had a wonderful teacher who was used to stuff. And she sat with me for hours and hours after school, trying to help me know enough about it that I could help teachers when they came in to use it. And I told her, we need to write a book that says simple enough for Nancy. And then they came out with Apple dummies for apples, Apple for dummies, or whatever it was. And I was like, see, I told you we needed to write that.
Sheesh, that's crazy amount, huh?
Yeah.
Did you see that? No?
No, I haven't gotten there yet. Just go to the bottom.
Did you see it, Mr. Lyles? $85,000, $135,178.
And that's,
Oh, that only takes care of the cafeteria, the Lewis gym. There's 2 or 3 windows they missed at the high school on the quote there. And where was there one more place?
Mhm. That is wild.
Mm-hmm. There's my.
I saw your
Hello,
little
Naya.
darling at the football game. I saw your little darling at the football
Oh,
game.
yes.
She's so cute.
Sometimes have like cartoons in there or something.
and the fund, so where does the funding for this come from?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
That'll be our capital funding. You know, we have several capital funds. We have the state. The 31-2s, I forget what they're called, that PSFA gives us every year for security. one for facilities and CTE. So, but we could also use, if we wanted to use bond money on it, or we could use our SB 9. But what we'll use is what PSFA has now.
And that's enough to cover this?
How many other things need to be covered by that?
I know, honestly.
So elementary won't be covered yet,
As far as the.
Oh, the-
games,
or the money.
I think that'll be it this time.
Elementary has not been done, or
No, but because since we have the new building.
Yeah, but they're the place on campus that has the biggest, widest open windows.
For some reason, I thought we had approved that like.
It's a shame you have
last year or
to-
something.
If we didn't.
I
you
really
just, I'm gonna make a note, I'll go back through this.
Is it
and
just-
look.
feels like it,
Right?
right? Like, we had a whole discussion
Yeah,
about it.
I'm sorry, it's supposed to have been completed.
Me too.
This is filthy.
I, good deal.
I can go back through the meeting minutes and see.
Okay, thank you.
Can you search it by something? Because that's a big time spender.
I just spent my time through the majority of them today, so looking for other stuff. And
Sometimes you can do a search like word window to
start putting them all in ChatGPT and looking
I
for
was just gonna say,
searches.
even in like just Google.
Yeah, yes, there's a lot of options nowadays, but if
It just does. I don't know why, I mean, and we said that last time too, right?
yeah,
well,
We felt like we had already done. Yeah.
it's been a major area of concern for a long time. Do they still have the curtains on the windows open?
on the
And I have to admit, I'm having.
In the cafeteria?
I felt like the gap was, there was at least,
A little bit of a
yeah,
safety net, a little bit.
yeah,
-ish.
they were put up for a prom. And
Oh, yeah,
they were put up, like with lights behind them. And it was really pretty at night. They just, they were just on, extension.
I can step out,
rod to-
oh, it's like
You
a
can step
teaching.
out, right?
Thank you. Extension rod. Those are just like a gauzy, but it gave just a little bit of a dimension into it that I thought was good. Where they could always be, thicker fabric that, I mean, if it's gonna cost thousands and thousands of dollars to put film on that wall, you might as well put great stuff. It can be open from shut and.
Just through the training we went through this summer, they really highly encourage windows to be open so you can actually see what's coming, because if you can see it, not that you can fix it, but that you have a
Right, that's
better
why
option to make
Kind
a,
of transparency, I mean,
yeah,
Yeah, they were saying.
the gauzy kind of stuff,
you
you
could
could
see.
see out, you know, you could see out. But.
Just felt like we have a
Yeah.
discussion on that already. It's just, I don't know why I can't.
I asked them